Hey everyone, welcome back to Python Learning. In this video, I'm going to discuss about, if, elif and else. So in our previous videos, we discussed how to check single condition and how to make decision based on it. And then we discussed about how to make an alternate decision with the help of an else condition. Now it's a time to explore what if you want to specify multiple conditions and you want to make decisions based on that. So how do you do that? So that's where we have a concept called as, elif. Elif is used to check multiple conditions in a program using if, elif, and else. Usually, in your program, if you have multiple conditions and if you want to make any decisions based on it, always start with, if first condition, and then to write remaining conditions, you can just make use of elif and you can repeat any times according to your requirement. And to make a final decision, you can just use else concept. Okay. And the syntax is something like this. We always start with if statement. If this condition is true, it's going to make a statement related to that. Then to write a second condition, we just write elif, similar to if. Elif, its condition, close it with a colon and its corresponding statement. And then if you have one more condition, use elif, write a condition and make statements. So once your if, elif, multiple above conditions are false, like you have to make an alternate decision, then just go with the else and make a decision related to that. Okay, always remember this statement gets executed when your if condition is true. And this statement gets executed when your elif condition is true. This statement gets executed when above all is false and this condition is true. And your else is going to get executed when all your above if and elif statements are basically false. Okay, so always remember when if condition true, if statement gets printed. And first elif condition is true, elif gets printed. When second elif condition is true, elif gets printed. And when everything above is false, then the statement related to else is going to execute. This is all about, if, elif, and else. Okay, we'll try solving few questions so that you will get an idea how to solve it, how to use it. So I have a simple question. You need to check whether a number is positive, negative, or zero. So in a previous video, we did for positive, negative. Now it's a time to explore for three conditions. When you have three conditions, so how do you do it? First, I have to take input from user. So I'll just say input number is equal to, sorry, yeah. So I'll just say number is equal to integer of an input. Okay, and then I'll just write if number is greater than zero, it has to print. I'll just use format. So F for formatting. So I'll say number is positive. Okay, Elif, I want to write a second condition. What if number is less than zero? If number is less than zero, it has to make a statement like, it has to make a decision like, okay, number is negative. Okay, then else, what if number is not positive, negative? Final decision is made with the help of else. So it has to print that number is zero. Done. Okay, now let's run this program. Just understand, first I'll just input 50. So clearly 50 is positive number. It's going to make a decision related to first condition. So clearly 50 greater than 0, it gives a statement like 50 is positive. It's giving statement like 50 is positive. Let me try to enter some negative number minus 20. See, now your if condition fails, it is jumping to second elif. I mean, like it's jumping to elif. Here the condition is true. Here the condition is true because minus 20 is less than 0. It's making statement like, minus 20 is negative. So similarly, one more, what if I enter 0? So when I enter 0, so clearly if condition is false, elif condition is false, and final statement, it's going to print as like, number is 0. So how the order of execution will happen is first it will start here. So clearly it fails. Then it will jump here. It fails. Now it come here and it's going to make a final decision without checking any condition. Hope it's clear. We'll move on to the next one. Okay, now I have to check divisibility number. Basically, I have to take an input from a user. Okay, I'll just take like number is equal to integer of an input. Great. Okay, I'm taking input from user. And then what I'll do, I'll just start writing. If number is divisible by 5, I'll just say like, number modulo of 5 is equal to 0. It has to print that. Okay, it has to print Number is divisible by 5. Okay, second condition, Elif. If it's divisible by 7, I'll use number modulo 7 is equal to 0. If it's divisible completely by 7, it has to print that number is divisible by 7. It has to print that number is divisible by 7. There is one more condition, Elif. What if number is divisible by both 3 and 7? So if number modulo 3 is equal to 0, both, right? So you have to use and number modulo 7 is equal to 0, then what it has to written? It has to written the, it has to print number is divisible by both 3 and 7. Else, what if all above conditions are false? Otherwise, we just need to print that, okay, number is not divisible by 5 or 7 or by both 3 and 7. Okay, this is how you write multiple statements, multiple conditions with the help of an Elif. Now I'll just start playing with it. Let's say if I give 25, it just say like 25 is divisible by 5. If I give 14, so it sees that 14 is divisible by 7. If I say 30, so again 30 is divisible by 5. And if I see some number like, 29, so clearly 29 is not divisible by 5 or 7 or even by both 3 or 7. Okay, this is how you write multiple conditions with the help of an Elif. It starts checking one by one, and based on it, it is going to make a decision. Hope it's clear. Okay. So one more interesting question that I have is like find greater number. So you have to write a program in order to take two different numbers. I'll take 100 and I'll take 50. Okay. And you have to write a program to check, whether which number is greater. First, I'll check is A greater than B? If yes, it has to print that. Okay, I'll just use a format. Okay, it should see that A is greater than B. Okay, other case, I'll just use an Elif. What if B is greater than A? And then it has to print in opposite way that, okay, print B is greater than A. What if A is not greater than B? What if B is not greater than A? Final else statement, it has to print. It has to print that A and B are same. A and B are equal. Okay, so now let me start playing with this. You can see it's giving 100 greater than 50 because clearly the first condition is satisfying. So now what if I give different numbers? You can try, I'll just swap it. I'll just give 50 first and then I'll give 100. So it's going to give me that, 100 is greater than 50. That means it is giving second condition, right? And what if both the numbers are same? If I enter both like 50-50, it's going to give me the final statement, which is like 50 and 50 are equal. They're almost same. I hope it's clear. This is all about, writing Elif for multiple conditions. So we have few more questions. Let's try out. Grade calculator, you have to accept the percentage from user and you have to display the grade according to the following. So basically here, you have to accept the marks, right? That is a percentage. So we'll just call it like, percentage. Or let me just call it like a marks. Marks is equal to, I'll just call an integer of an input. Okay, and then I'll start writing condition that if this marks is less than 25, okay, it has to, the grade is going to be what? It's going to be like a D. Okay, Elif, if that marks is, okay, if that marks is greater than or equal to 25, and what if the same marks is less than or equal to 45? Okay, in that case, the grade is going to be C. Done. Okay, similarly, for the next condition, I'm repeating my Elif. So you can just do copy paste. You can be smarter. So it should be like, marks is greater than 45 because I have included 45 here. And marks should be less than or equal to 50. So in that case, the grade is going to be B. Okay, great. One more, Elif, if marks is greater than 50 and if it is less than 60. Okay, then grade is going to be just B plus. And the next Elif is going to be if marks is greater than 60 and if it is less than 80, less than or equal to 80. So the grade is going to be just A. And finally, else, if it's above 80, I did not write a condition. I can just make an alternate condition. So print, I can just say instead of printing, else, like if it's above 80, the grade is going to be what? It's just like A plus. Okay, finally, let me just try to print something. After checking a condition, it has to print that. Okay, it has to print that. It has to print a grade. Here. Okay, see, now let me just enter a marks. If I enter 10, so it's going to be D grade. You can clearly see here. Because 10 is, if condition is satisfying, right? So it's a D. So similarly, try running and give marks between 25 to 45. I'll give 30. It has to give me grade C. See, 25 to 45 lies between 30 lies in this range, right? So grade C. So what if I enter a value between 45 to 50? Let's say 47. It gives me grade B. Similarly, 50 to 60. So I'll say 55. It gives me B plus. Similarly, I'll enter number between 60 to 80. So it's giving me grade A. If somebody got a marks like 90, it's going to give us like an A plus. So this is how you write multiple conditions with the help of, Elif and if else. Okay. Let's take up one more interesting question, which is an employee bonus calculator. So here, a company decides to give a bonus to employers based on their years of experience. Okay, if someone's years of experience is more than 10, that means they're gonna get 10% of a salary. If someone's experience is between 60 to 10, I mean like 6 years to 10 years, it's going to be like 8% of a salary. And less than 6, they just get, 5% of a salary. Okay. So what I'll do is, I'll just take an experience, not really experience. Yeah, we need to take an experience. Okay, experience is equal to, I'll say like integer of an input. So here we need two inputs. One is like employee has to tell an experience and also they have to tell a salary. So based on that, we can calculate what bonus they have got, how much bonus they are getting. Okay, let's build a logic here, real use case. First, I'll check that if experience is more than 10, okay, if it's greater than 10, then salary is going to update like what? Actual salary plus salary times the bonus. So 10% of a salary in the sense 10 by 100 in the sense like a 0.1. Done. Elif, second case. What if an experience is, I can use, two conditions like, if experience is greater than or equal to 6 and if experience is less than or equal to 10. Okay. In that case, the salary is going to be how much? Salary is same thing. Salary expression is going to be actual salary plus salary times the percentage, hike percentage or a bonus percentage, which is 8%. 8 by 100 is going to be what? 0.08. Done. Else, the final, if it's less than 6, then it's going to be salary is equal to again the same expression. And the bonus is going to be 5%. 5 by 100 is going to be 0.05. Okay, finally, let's print a salary. So I'll just say salary. And now let me start playing with it. Let's say years of experience is like, 12 years of experience. And somebody has a salary around like 1,20,000. So after applying a 10% bonus, 10% of 12,000, basically, the bonus, I mean like a salary after applying 10% of bonus, it is like 1,32,000. 12,000, sorry, 10,000 has been increased. 10,000 increment, you could see it here, right? Actual salary was 12,000 and 10% of, I mean like, sorry, yeah. 10% of 1,22,000 in the sense, obviously it's 10 by 100. 0 cancels and it's just a 0.1, which is going to be a 12,000 increment they are getting, 12,000 plus Actual 1,20,000 is going to be 1,32,000. Hope it's clear. So similarly, you can play with experience between like 7 years. Let's say you have 7 years of experience and your salary is somewhere around like 50,000. So increment is going to be 8%. 8 5s are 44,000 increment you got. Similarly, you can try what if your years of experience is just 3 years and you have like a 30,000 salary and your increment is going to be just like 5%. 5 3s are 15. So 1,500, right? Sorry, yeah. So 30,000 and you got like around 31,500 with 5% increment. So this is how logically you write if elephant else. Okay. I have basically one more electric bill calculator. So basically here we just need to accept the electric units, okay, consumed from the user and you have to calculate the bill. So how do you calculate? So how to calculate? So basically what I do here is, yeah. So we'll just define units. We have to take how much units is consumed, and based on that, we have to calculate, the bill, right? So if first let's take an input from user, that is like how many units? Units is equal to, I'll just say like an integer of an input. Okay. And then according to our logic, if first 100 units, right? First 100 units in the sense, if unit is less than or equal to 100, bill is going to be 0. So let's say if unit is less than or equal to 100, so the bill is going to be 0. Okay, Elif. It says that. So it's a unit. Okay, yeah. First 100, it's going to be free bill, no bill. That means bill is going to be 0 for next 200. Let's say if your unit is, let's say if your unit is less than 300. Next 200 in a sense, obviously it should be less than 300, right? So if it is less than or equal to 300, so what is going to be the bill? So for 100 units, the bill will be just 0. And for remaining 200 units. So that means like whatsoever may be the units, don't you think we have to subtract 100 units from it? So we just need to take how much unit and we'll subtract 100 unit from it. And for every remaining unit, we just need to charge 2 rupees. Hope you understood. Okay, next important thing, again, else, other condition, right? So for other condition, what happens? If it's about 300, if your unit is about 300, so what will happen? So about 300 means like 200 units is fixed now. So bill is going to be, I can see that. For 200 units, the bill is going to be like a 2 rupees plus. So remaining units, like whatever you get it now, you would just try to subtract it within 100 because 0 fee. And for remaining units, you just multiply it with a 5. Done. So finally, try to print a bill. See, I'll just explain this how it works logically. A very first thing. So it clearly says that if unit is, okay, if unit is like 100 up to 100, so bill is going to be 0. Free in the sense like a 0. Okay, see, like now let me run this program and let me show you. If I try to enter like a 90 units, it just says that bill is 0. So you are getting a bill 0. Okay, now what if I try to enter bill? What if what if our unit is like, more than 100, less than 300? So let's call it like a 200 units. So what will be the charge of 200 units? So now don't you think among 200 units, 100 units are basically fixed? So I can take up 100 units, which is free. So how do you know? How do you take out 100 units from 200? Don't you think you have to do 200 minus 100? So how do you do that? I'm using unit minus 100. 200 minus 100 gives you 100, right? So that remaining unit should be multiplied with this 2 unit. So that is the expression that I have written here. Hope you are getting. So for the first 100 units, it's going to be bill is going to be 0. So what if our unit is like, 200 units? Out of 200 units, I have to subtract 100, right? Whatever remaining units you get, that needs to be multiplied with this 2 rupees, which is going to be 200. Yes, right. So that is the expression I have written, like, unit minus 100 into 2. Whatever units you got, subtracted with 100, because for 100 units it's free, and remaining you just need to multiply with that 2. So obviously it's going to give us like a 200. Okay, you can try. Let's say, for example, what if I given 250? When I enter 250, what happens? So don't you think out of 250, don't you think out of 250, how much I have to remove? So 250 minus 100, because for 100 units it's free. Remaining is going to be 150. And this 150 needs to be multiplied with a 2. So we get like around 300. 15 twos are 30, right? So you get a bill of 300. See, interesting use case. Okay, next one. What if your units is like more than 300? Let's say 400. So how do you split this 400? So we know that, according to the question, we know that for 100 units, it's a 0, right? For next 200 units, it's going to be like a 2 rupees. If it's anything above 300, it's going to be like a 5 units, right? So now I have got my units as like, 400 units. I have to remove 100 from this 400. So how do you remove 100 from 400? So I'll just say that, 400 minus 100. Okay. And along with that, in that basically what I have to take, I have to remove like 200. In that, I have to take out like a remaining what? 200. So that means like how much I'm removing. So out of 400, I had written a wrong logic here. Let me fix this. So understand carefully again. So 100 units free, and for 200 units, it's going to be like a 2 rupees, and for remaining, it's going to be like a 5 rupees. So now, how many units I have? Let's say I have a 400 units. Out of 400 units, I have to take 100 units, which is like free, and I have to take up 200 units, which is going to be 2. So can I say, so out of 400, I'm taking 200 units and I'm just multiplying with a 2. That is this. And then remaining is what? So don't you think in remaining 200 is already taken out, and for 100 units it's a free? Then don't you think I need to subtract this 400 from 100 plus 200, which is going to be 300? Yes. So here I just gave it like 100. It should not be 100. It should be like a 300, because for 100 units no charge, and for 200 units it's a 2 rupees charge. Right. So now if I enter 400 and just see like what it's giving. Just see like what it is giving. So what it is giving? It's giving 1900. How you are getting that 1900? Very simple. So out of 400, we took up 200. So 200 into 2 rupees, we know that. Plus, so total units is 400. Out of 400, we are removing 300. And then remaining should be multiplied with a 5. So 2 twos are 4. So it's going to be 400 plus 400 minus 300 is going to be just 100, right? Into 5. So 400 plus 500 is going to be 900. Okay, it gave me 1900 because I did changes to my program, right? Let me run it again. Let me enter 400. It's going to give us 900. You got the logic. Right, let me try. Let me input different number. Let's say what if bill is 800. So how do you calculate a bill? How do you calculate manually? So out of 800, you have to take up 100 and you have to take up 200. Right? What is remaining if you take up these 300? So it's going to be 200 units will charge a 2 rupees plus out of 800, I'm removing 300. 200 already taken and 100 units are free. And remaining should be multiplied with a 5. So it's going to be 400 plus 800 minus 300 is obviously like, 500. 5 5s are 25, right? Yeah. So the result is going to be 2900. See, you got the same answer. I hope this is clear. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Interesting question, which is a travel fare calculator. So it clearly sees that accept the kilometer from user and try to calculate the fare. So I'll just say kilometer is equal to integer of an input, or you can also take float, or in case if it's decimal. Okay. So I'll just write a condition if kilometer, first kilometer, that means of, okay. It says that if kilometer, first 10 kilometer, first 10 kilometer means like what I have to do. So that means if kilometers are, less than or equal to 10, okay, first 10 kilometer, 10 should be included, then fare is going to be how much? It's going to be just like 11 rupees. Okay, the fare is going to be like 11 rupees per kilometer. So, but it's 10 kilometer, right? You just need to multiply your kilometer with a 11. So that you will get to know what is the fare price. Elif. For next 90 kilometer. So next 90 kilometer in the sense what I should take up. For next 90 kilometer, that means it should be less than or equal to 100. Okay, so I'll just use if kilometer is less than or equal to 100. So what will happen to our fare? What will happen to our fare in this case? So fare is going to be already out of 100 kilometers, I just need to take up a 10 kilometer. For 10 kilometer, the charge is going to be 11 rupees. And for remaining, it's going to be like, 10 rupees. For remaining, it's going to be 10 rupees. So what I'll do, I'll just take out, let's say for example, you have a 90 kilometers. I'll take up 10. For 10 kilometers, it's going to be 11 rupees. So it's 10 times 11 plus remaining. How do you calculate? How do you remove 10 kilometers from actual kilometer? You just need to subtract it and just multiply that with rupees 10. Okay, then finally else. What if it's above 100 kilometer? Then fare is going to be even here. Even here, so what will happen? This is like pretty much similar to your previous logic itself. So even in this case, you have to take up, if kilometers are greater than 100, you have to take up 10 kilometer and then you have to take up 90 kilometer. For 10 kilometers, it's 11 rupees. For 90 kilometers, it's 10 rupees. And then for remaining thing, you have to apply 9 rupees charge. Okay, for 10 kilometers, it's going to be 11 rupees plus. For 90 kilometers, it's going to be 10 kilometers plus. So how do you find the remaining kilometers? So already I have taken 100 kilometers, right? 10 plus 90. So it should be actual kilometer minus 100 and that needs to be multiplied with 9 rupees. Okay, so finally it's going to print us fair. Okay, let's say for example now, let's say I have traveled for 5 kilometers. So what would be the charge for 5 kilometer? So obviously the price is going to be 11. So you'll get like 55 rupees. Look, so you are getting 55. Hope this is clear. Next case, I'll just enter, 80 kilometers. Let's say you travel for 80 kilometers. So 80 kilometers, I'll take up 10. For 10 kilometers, it's going to be 11 rupees charge plus remaining 80 minus 10 is going to be 70, right? For remaining 70, it's going to be 10 rupees charge. So it's going to be 110 plus 700, which is going to be 810. So let me just enter 80 kilometers and let's see what it will give. See, 810 rupees. Okay, similarly, what if you travel for kilometers like more than 100? Let's say you travel for 200 kilometers. Okay, 200 kilometers in the sense like what you will do. In 200 kilometers, see here, in 200 kilometers, I'm going to take up like 10 kilometers whose charge is like 11 rupees plus I'll take up remaining 90 kilometers for which the charge is going to be 10 rupees. Okay, plus remaining. Out of 200 already I have taken 100 kilometers, right? So subtracted with 100 and remaining should be multiplied with a 9. So it's going to be 10 times 11 is going to be 110 plus 90 times 10 is like 900 rupees plus remaining 200 minus 100 is 100. 100 into 9 is going to be like 900. Okay, if you sum everything, so it's going to be 1800, 1910. 1910 is going to be our total fare price for 200 kilometers. See, this is an interesting thing about, if elephant else. I hope it's clear. Thank you. Happy learning.